Hello, welcome to episode 71 of Fluffy Fibres, the French podcast in English on sewing, knitting and very occasionally spinning a handmade wardrobe from head to toe. Hello everyone, my name is Isabelle and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Fluffy Fibres. You will find the show notes for the podcast on fluffyfibres.com and you can also find a Ravelry group at Fluffy Fibres podcast. So thank you so much for joining me today, for taking some time to join me today. I do hope you're all doing really well. Today's not going to be a regular episode with all of my regular segments. So if you want to see what the podcast usually looks like, I advise, for instance, you can go back and look at and watch episode 70. So today's going to be rather different for a couple of reasons. The first one being that my little boy has strep throat, so we are both home this morning. Today's Friday, April 26th, and yes, so my little boy is home, and that is actually why I'm able to film this morning. But it also means that I'm not on my own, and there might be some some cuts and some little noises, and I do hope you won't mind. I'll do my best to edit to the best of my abilities. And yes, the second reason is that this is not going to be an episode where I share all of my current projects, but rather an episode where I share my experience at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival and at the Lyon Knit Eat Festival that happened in March and April, and where I share everything that I got there, and especially where I share the projects, the plans I have for this beautiful yarn or fabric. So yes, I did want to film today because we are leaving on holidays next week, or tomorrow, for a week, which hasn't happened since August. So we really very much need this break as a family, and we're going to go to our beloved Cévennes, which are the mountains north of Montpellier, where we live. So we are very excited about this. So I'm going to film this. I'm hoping this won't be too long, so that I won't have too much need to edit it, and so it might be a little less edited than usually because I really want to post this before we leave tomorrow. So yes, so without further ado, I have my lovely cup of tea. I am wearing my very beloved Cinquilio pullover that I actually knit last year in the Cévennes as well, but during the week we spent in the summer, over the summer in the Cévennes, in the same place where we're going this spring. And so it is, for me, it is my Anna pullover, because this design was published in the first issue of Bellota Knits, which is a Spanish magazine, and sadly I don't speak Spanish. But Anna from Lana et Tricot, whom I'm going to mention later on, is Spanish and French. So she is both part of the Spanish and French knitting community, and so she translated this design and offered kits for this design last year in her shop. And so the yarn is Mungo by Rosa Pomar. So it's a blend of wool and cotton, both recycled. And yes, so you have this, so it's a rather cropped and loose-fitting pullover, very easy to knit, bottom up, and you have this lovely leaf or tree detail, which I hope is catching on camera, hopefully. So yes, hopefully you can see this. So yeah, I really love this. It's perfect at the moment for spring, and I'm wearing it over my little black Monato dress that I made at the beginning of this year. So yeah, and it's proven to be a wonderful little dress to wear under my oversized loose pullovers. So yeah, so yes, so I'm going to start obviously with EYF. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the festival itself, because obviously it's been talked about so much, and it's quite a while now. It's over a month since it happened. However, yesterday the organizer, Mika and Joe, just announced that there won't be an EYF in 2020. There will be one normally. There should be one in 2021, which I actually, for my part, think is a very wise move on their part. But yeah, so maybe it's also good for for you to. It's maybe also good to reminisce about this year's festival. So I did have to pace myself this year more so than last year because of my the progress of my illness, and so which I don't want to talk about too much here. But if you follow me elsewhere, you know what I mean. So I really wanted to pace myself, and this kind of festival is very exhausting. Also, I couldn't take any time off for this, so it means it was just crammed into a regular work week for me, which meant a lot of work to make this work, and a lot of exhaustion as a result. So what I did was I arrived at midnight on Thursday after my actually a work day, a very full work day. So I travelled by night. I was very fortunate because my friend Tracy Schnuffeltier, who has the Passionate Spinner podcast on YouTube, hello Tracy if you're watching, she actually was kind enough to come and fetch me at the airport with my very dear friend Erin, who is I am Erin Joy. So Tracy and her family drove to the airport to take me to my Airbnb, which was absolutely wonderful, very kind. So I shared an Airbnb with my very dear friend Erin, which was one of the reasons why I was actually able to attend the festival, because I felt safe in case things wouldn't go well for me. I knew Erin would, had my back and would be here to take care of me. So that was very helpful. I really don't think I would have gone otherwise, actually. So Erin, thank you so much. So yes, so I attended the festival on Friday, took a break on Saturday, just stayed downtown, which was absolutely lovely, and then I attended the Make Wall event on Sunday. And so Friday was incredibly busy. So I attended the festival last year, and I didn't get the same kind of experience. I think also because I myself was not, the progression of my illness has especially meant that I am incredibly sensitive to noise, and it actually hurts my head and my ears, and it also heightens the tinnitus that I have. And so I was, it was it was very challenging to go to this very the bustle and all the noise and so on. So it was really quite hard, and yeah, so I just felt, maybe as a result, or maybe because it was really busier than last year, but I felt it was very crowded this year. It was quite difficult sometimes to actually reach the yarn, and yeah, so it was, for me in this respect, it was different. That being said, of course, it was still absolutely wonderful to be able to meet so many friends or viewers of the podcast from all around the world. That is really the magical thing about EYF. And yeah, also of course the amazing thing about EYF is the vendors there, and the choice of vendors that you have there. So I was also absolutely thrilled, and I have to say, the Sunday event was just absolutely wonderful and perfect. It was, you had a lot less people attending, and the vendors at Make Wall on Sunday were really picked for, their being local and very sustainable, and offering very sustainable material, very thoughtful wool or even wool fabric, and And yeah, and because it was less crowded, it was easier to sit down and chat. The noise level was much, much lower. So it was altogether an ideal experience for me, the Sunday event. So yeah, I'm so glad I attended this, because honestly I could have just gone to Edinburgh and just attended the Make Wall event and it would have been perfect. That being said, again, I did have a lovely time on Friday, and I was very happy to meet so many people, to meet so many friends, and to get to see so much beautiful yarn. So yes, so without further ado, I'm just going to show you what I got. So I had a very specific list of things that I wanted to get. So I really wanted to buy just for some preset projects, and especially I had a couple of projects for Seb, my husband, because it was high time, it is high time I knit him a cardigan. He has pullover that I knit him when I was pregnant with my son, so that must have been 3 years ago, and he absolutely loves it. He wears it all the time. It's in undyed French wool. So yes, so I had this on my list. I wanted possibly to buy him some yarn for nylon-free socks as well. Seb is very, very also concerned with the environment and natural materials, so he is very, very appreciative of this. And also for myself, I had a couple of projects in mind as well, so I'm very happy to say that I did find everything I had on my list, so that's great. And I didn't go insane and crazy and lose my mind over the gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. So the first thing I really, really wanted was to find some wool for Seb to make him this cardigan. And so the cardigan we picked beforehand was the Antler cardigan by Tin Can Knits. And so and if there was one thing I wanted to get from the festival, it was this yarn, the yarn for this cardigan. So I finally chose, after taking a good long look all around the booths, thinking hard about this, I finally got this beautiful undyed Swedish yarn, which is called, no, it's not this, called All Centrum. So, okay, All Centrum, and it was sold by the amazing people at Midwinter Yarns. That it was one of my favourite booths. They were so lovely. It was a husband and wife. They were very, very, I don't know, they took a lot of time with their customers. They had beautiful, ethical wool, and they also dyed it with plants, so I actually almost got some for myself, and I was hesitating about the colours. It was a beautiful like lavender blue, like periwinkle blue, absolutely gorgeous. And by the time I'd taken a turn around the EYF, that particular colour was gone. There were just two skeins left, and I needed 3 for my project, so I had to let go of that dream, but that's fine, that's fine. There is always more yarn. But yes, so here is their card, Midwinter Yarn. There you go. And so they are, yes, so hand-picked natural yarns from Scandinavia. Yes, so what they do is that they both sell yarn from Scandinavia, and they also dye some of this yarn with plants. So yes, so what I got was actually one of the yarns that they just source and that they were just selling at EYF, which is this beautiful, beautiful, so it's a three-ply Swedish wool. And I actually started swatching this last night, so I can actually show you a swatch of this. So I actually started, so I got 6 skeins, so it's 200 meters per 100 grams, so I have 1200 meters, which is exactly what I need. So here are my beautiful cakes. I love this yarn. It's so substantial and toothy, and it smells so good. So it's completely undyed. It's just made by them, you know, mixing, so they had various shades of grey, all natural, like, you know, ecru, and it's made by mixing several, you know, colours of the sheep. And what was really interesting is that, so they had a lighter grey that was definitely softer, because I think there is probably more guard hair in this. But it's fine, it's for, you know, an outerwear cardigan that Seb is going to wear when we're hiking and so on. And so yeah, this is called Mid Grey, this one. And what I really loved, like the lovely surprise I had yesterday when I caked up this yarn, was because it meant I opened up the label, and there is so much information on the labels, which of course is something that I absolutely love. So it's 100% Swedish wool collected from Swedish farms by Ullcentrum, and so at the back of the ball band you have lots of information about it as well, and also care instructions, which are quite interesting, to make it softer actually. So yes, I'm very, very happy. Seb was very excited. It's exactly the kind of shade I was envisioning, and so yeah, so this is going to be the project I take with me during our holidays next week, so that it has lovely, lovely memories knitted into it. So this is my first swatch that I made last night, and it's actually not quite dry yet. So yeah, so maybe you can see it has got quite a bit of halo to it, and it's heathered, which is absolutely lovely, and yeah, it's very, very substantial. So the only thing is, I knit with the recommended needle size by the pattern, but I got a slightly bigger swatch. So this is 16 stitches, and I need 18 stitches for the sample, for this, you know, to meet gauge. So I think I'm going to knit a slightly, you know, with smaller needles and see. I have a very Goldilocks approach to my making. I find typically I need three tries to get it just right. So yeah, so I need to knit a second swatch, and we'll see. I do like the drape I have with this, but I'm thinking as well, I think tighter tension would work as well. I still have a ways to go before it gets too stiff, especially after washing it. So it grew really quite drapey actually, quite surprisingly drapey, as opposed to how it was before I knit it. It was quite crimped. Probably that's not the right word, but I'm sure you know what I mean. So it really softened, and especially got a lot drapier when I washed the swatch. So yes, very, very excited about this. And then the second yarn I purchased was also for Seb, and it is, you know, so I was looking for some nylon-free sock yarn, and I got help actually from Tracy, who is Schnuffeltier, because Tracy spins a lot, so she knows really well her way around various fibres, you know, various breeds, and, you know, the resulting yarn as well. So she really helped me quite a lot trying to figure out what yarn would be a good candidate for sock knitting. And so eventually we picked this, which was from, I picked that from the Isolde booth, which was just an incredible booth. Yeah, so Isolde sources a lot of also European, you know, non-superwash, non-treated yarn, and so this is from Norway. So Seb has got quite his Nordic stash of yarn now for me to knit him. So this is Solje by Pensolgarn, so from Norway, and yeah, so it's just pure wool. And yeah, the fibre seems, so the staple seems quite long, so I'm hopeful this will work well for socks, and I absolutely love the colour, and he does too, so I'm quite excited about knitting him a pair of socks with this. Not sure yet if I add some contrasting toes. I don't think so actually, but yeah, beautiful yarn. really beautiful yarn. So hopefully you can see the structure of the yarn. Yeah, hopefully you can see this. So the next yarn I got, still on Friday, was from the John Arbon booth, and that was for me. So initially, what I really had on my bucket list was yarn from Mulview Yarns, which I have been admiring for a long time. I don't know why I didn't spend more time last year at her booth, but yeah, I absolutely love what she does. So Mulview Yarns is in Wales, if I'm not mistaken, and she dyes with plants and with really local wool, non-superwash obviously. So sadly, by the time I reached the festival, first of all, her booth was absolutely mobbed, so it was really, really hard to get to the yarn. It was such a lovely booth though. And secondly, the yarn I had in mind, the kind of colours and of fibre that I wanted, were sold out by the time I went to her booth on Friday morning. And she was actually the first booth I hit, because that was the one thing I really wanted for myself from the festival. But that's fine. Again, there will always be more yarn, and I'm sure I will have another opportunity to get some of her yarn later on in my life. So instead I said, but what I had in mind was a very light pink, the kind of pink you get by avocado dyeing, which is really something I need to do someday. So eventually I purchased some yarn from John Arbon, and John Arbon is one of these yarn producers in the UK whom I have so much respect for, and their booth was just like last year. I think it was even more beautiful than last year. Also, I feel that they have developed a lot more yarns since last year. I don't know, they work so hard, and they are really more and more geared towards developing British sheep breeds, and developing non-superwash yarn as well. And so I got 3 skeins of their knit by numbers yarn, which is just incredibly soft. And so it is actually organically farmed merino, which I wasn't aware of before. I thought it was just merino, but it is organic, which is actually a major reason why I picked this yarn at the festival. And so, of course, with the knit, so this is 4-ply. What is wonderful with the knit by numbers is that you have so many shades, all the shades of the rainbow, and then all the possible values from the lightest to the darkest. So this is actually the lightest value for this particular pink, which is I want to say a heathery pink, or a mauve obviously, but yeah, this beautiful muted greyish, purplish pink. And so it's the lightest shade in this particular colour range. So it's, if for anyone interested, it's the KBN 91. If anyone falls in love with this shade the way I did, if you want to purchase it, there you go. And it is incredibly soft. It is just it feels like cashmere. So I'm very, very excited about this. And what the plan for this is to knit this doubled with a strand of mohair, the way I knit my Romy sweater by Anna, along avec Anna. And yeah, so the plan is to knit this doubled into a cardigan, so a DK weight cardigan. So I'm still not quite sure about the cardigan I'm going to knit with this. I'm thinking a more relaxed cardigan, cozy cardigan. We'll see. But yeah, I'm very excited about this. It's just so beautiful. And again, John Arbon's booth was one of my favourite. It's just so wonderful to see all this effort being made towards producing wool that promotes various breeds of sheep, wool that is made in wonderful conditions for the workers, for the sheep, for nature. And yeah, and John Arbon himself is so lovely, you know. He was obviously super busy, but he still takes time to talk, to chat with you. I was also looking for a darker, like one of their darkest greys, and they were all sold out. Their blacks and greys like sold out so fast, but he still took some time to look for it and so on. So yeah, really wonderful, wonderful, you know, makers. So that was for my Friday purchases in terms of wool, but I also got a few goodies that were non-wool, still sheep related. Of course, I couldn't go to EYF this year and not go and hug my friend Katie, who is Katie Green, who has the Green Bean podcast and website and zine, and so I was very excited to visit her booth, which was doing so well, which was so wonderful. It was in the marquee. And I got a few lovely things from her, which, as you can see, I have been very good about and not even unpackaged, because I really wanted to keep everything nice and pristine for the podcast. So I got her lovely note card, which, okay, let me unwrap it now. So, and it's all printed in Britain on recycled paper, which is wonderful. So yes, oh, the potential. I love this so much. Isn't it such a big part of our joy in making, the potential, you know, the plethora of beautiful things we can make out of one skein or a couple of skeins of yarn. So yes, I love this so much. So yes, that is one. So printed in the UK on recycled paper. And then I got, of course I got her zine, The Green Bean. I've been following Katie avidly on her podcast and following her progress on this zine for many, many months now, and she worked so hard for this. So yeah, it has just so many things. You just, what you do with this is just you get, I don't want to share too much, and I'm not sure how much I can share really, but okay, let me just share one page that I absolutely love. It is this one. I love this so much. So what I do with this is I just stop at the page and just get lost in it, you know? Just dream. You get lost in it and dream. Yeah, so it's full of poetry and magic, really. So yeah, congratulations, Katie. This is just so wonderful. And you have a few knitting patterns in there as well, and a cushion project, so very, very exciting, just absolutely lovely. And she now sells these on her Etsy shop if you're interested in getting either the card or this, or she had lots of other goodies as well. And I also got her lovely tea towel with her amazing drawing of all of the British sheep breeds. So let me show this to you. So there you go. How wonderful is this? So much work in there. I just love Katie's drawing style. It's just so serene and soothing and fun, really, isn't it? So yes, I was initially thinking of making some project bags out of this, but the way it is made, you know, it's not like you have, I would be losing some of the precious sheep in this, so I'm not sure yet. Probably it will end up decorating one of my walls somewhere. We'll see. But yeah, it's just so lovely. And also, would you just look at this? I mean, how precious is this? So yeah, just. Je viens. So yes, just it is so special to have these now in my home, and look at Katie's beautiful work, and you know, wish her so well on her venture as a freelance artist and illustrator. And also, Katie's work was everywhere in the festival. The EYF team this year actually published a free magazine that you could get. at the festival, and I'm so glad I got one because it is chock full of Katie's beautiful art, and I'm going to keep it just for that. So I'm sure you've seen this on other podcasts or on Instagram, of course, but like for instance, she did such a beautiful full page for Whistle Bear, for the Whistle Bear Yarn Company, and yeah, it just, her drawings just bring you joy, you know. So yeah. So after that, on the Sunday I had one goal, which was to find some yarn for myself, to make myself a grey cardigan. So I have this plan to make myself a polished grey cardigan for work, you know, for dressy occasions. My neutral cardigans in dark shades have 3/4 sleeves, so that's not enough for winter. So yes, so I have this plan to make myself a really nice polished cardigan, and I wanted a dark or mid to dark grey. And so I took a good stroll around the beautiful marketplace on Sunday, and there was one maker in particular that I was very keen to see, and whose yarn I was very keen to see in person. It was Black Isle Yarns, and she was, you know, I was introduced to Black Isle, so she is Julie, on the Knit British podcast, as for so many British breeds. So if you don't know Julie at Black Isle Yarns, what she does is she sources wool from sheep that are very close to her, usually within a stone throw from her. And so you actually, you know, if you go on her website, you can meet the sheep, and so it's just very special. And then yarn, and then she has them spun in the UK, and either she just leaves them undyed, or she dyes them with plants. And so this particular wool is a DK weight. It is a light DK, and it is a crossbreeds blend of Bluefest Leicester, Cheviot on the one hand, Lincoln Cheviot on the other hand, and Lincoln Hampshire. So a blend of 3 crossbreed wools. So yeah, and it is actually overdyed with, so it's a grey base overdyed with gallnut. So it creates this beautiful, very beautiful light grey, which is on the cooler side, which is perfect for my complexion. So I am so excited about this yarn, and Julie is so lovely. I spent a bit of time just admiring her yarn and chatting with her, and also she had this lovely vendor with her who had this amazing sweater, like feral sweater, that she had actually designed, and actually picked a card. So she is Flutterby Knits, I think, or Flutterby. Yeah, she is Flutterby Knits on Instagram and Flutterby on Ravelry, and so she designed this amazing feral sweater, which is very much the same construction as the sweater I'm wearing, so with drop shoulders, which is actually a style I really like. So yeah, I still have some yarn from last year's EYF for a feral sweater, and I'm thinking this would be a perfect candidate for it. So yes, she was amazing in her sweater as well. And yeah, all these little, you know, chats are just so precious when you go to a festival like this. So yes, that is it for my yarn purchases at EYF, and I did get a few beautiful gifts, which I am so grateful for. So I got this amazing project bag from my dear friend Emilia, who is Emilia Carve on Instagram, and we've been chatting for many years. She's a very dear friend. She came all the way from the US, so it was very special to meet her. And so she made this beautiful project bag, which is so precious. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I just love it so much, and there's tea in there as well. So thank you so much, Emilia. It's so well made. Look at that. And actually, the fun thing is, she ran out of ribbon as she was making these. like the day before she left. So I think the ribbon actually comes from, I think maybe Liberty in London, which is quite fancy, isn't it? So yeah, but I love this so much with these little bears in the rain. I love this so much. I also had a beautiful project bag by Tracy, who is Schnuffeltier, and she was so generous, and she made this machine embroidered project bag, which, you know, especially for EYF, which is so beautiful, and it's again incredibly well made as well, and I love it so much. So thank you so much, Tracy. And she also included this gorgeous notebook, and who doesn't love a beautiful notebook, right? So yes, and it's really fun because it's got loads of different pages in there, like different colours and lines and then squares, so it's very, very fun. So yeah, a beautiful, beautiful notebook as well. So thank you so much, Tracy. And then I was completely surprised with a project bag from a lady I met at the festival who didn't even know me before that, who was Marion, and we spent a bit of time because she became acquainted with Erin on their way to the festival, and so we spent a bit of time chatting on Friday, and at the end she just gave each of us a beautiful project bag. So yeah, and so this is the one I got, which I absolutely love because it has these watercolor inspired poppies on it. So if you've known me for a while, you know I absolutely love to paint watercolor flowers, and poppies are my favourite flowers of all times. So I'm so grateful for this. It's so special. So thank you so much, Marion. I don't think you're watching, but just in case, I love this so much. So thank you. So yes, that is the end of my EYF lovely, lovely gifts and purchases, and as you can see, I am just about to cast on for the first EYF 2019 project, which is very, very exciting indeed. So yes. So let's talk now about the Knit Eat Festival in Lyon. So the Knit Eat Festival was the first weekend of April, 5th and 6th of April. I just attended on the festival on the Saturday, so the 5th, because so it was the first edition of the festival. And Lyon is actually just 2 hours away by train from Montpellier, so it's very easy to get there. It was such an easy trip, such a relaxing and easy trip, and it makes me want to go to Lyon more often, really. So Lyon is such a beautiful town, and one of my best friends lives there. Liz Taylor lives in Lyon, so coucou Liz! So yes, so I actually missed my train in the morning, which had never happened to me in my whole life, and I take the train every week, several times a week, and it's the first time I missed a train because there were storms in Montpellier, so the trams weren't working. Anyway, and it still felt like an easy trip, you know, even with my missed train and all. So it was such an amazing experience. The location was perfect. It was on the banks of the Saône River, and it was a very airy space with loads of windows, loads of sunshine flooding through the windows. It was quite crowded on the Saturday morning, which was actually good. I mean, you know, you want also these festivals to be crowded because it's so much work for the organisers, isn't it? And also for the vendors. So, you know, it's the same for EYF. I'm very, very happy for the organisers and the vendors that it works so well, obviously. But yeah, so it was still manageable, and especially the nose level was still manageable. There was no music, no overhead music, which was really nice. And yeah, and you had loads of little corners everywhere with sofas so that you could knit, and also because they were little corners, they were actually isolated from the main bustle and the nose, so that was huge for someone who is suffering from hypersensitivity to noise, that is a huge element to be able to just take shelter in a little area that is isolated, but still be in the festival, still enjoy your friends and so on. So that was absolutely lovely. And yeah, and on the Saturday afternoon it got less crowded as well, so I took another round, another walk around, and could talk a little more with the vendors and so on, so it was really, really lovely. And so the vendors at Knit Eat were mostly wool or accessories like knitting notions, which is rather nice actually as well. There were a couple of booths sending quite a bit of notions, especially Lily Comme Tout, who has so many amazing notions. So yeah, that was really nice as well. But yeah, in terms of the wool or the yarn, you had a mix between like hand-dyed, superwash yarn in really vivid colours with synthetic dyes, such as La Bien-Aimée, La Féfile. And then you had quite a good number of booths with ethical yarn, sustainable yarn, non-superwash, often dyed with plants as well, which just is absolutely wonderful to see develop in France. So yeah, I just watched Anna's podcast, which is in French, Lana et Tricot, and she also says the same thing, and I completely agree. It's just wonderful to see this growing interest and growing supply for sustainable, local, non-superwash, plant-dyed yarn. So it's absolutely wonderful. And of course Lana et Tricot was there. And so I was able to meet her for the first time, even though she was very, very busy, so we didn't get a chance to chat much, but that's fine. I'm sure there will be another time, but Lana et Tricot is very, very keen on promoting and sourcing and selling in her own shop, European yarn, which is as sustainable as possible. So I'm sure she's playing a huge role in this growing interest in France, actually. So yes, so talking of Lana et Tricot, I didn't really have many plans in terms of, I had zero plans in terms of yarn buying. But on the day before the festival happened, Anna posted on her Instagram these beautiful skeins of non-superwash organic merino dyed with plants. So they are dyed by Yarnitas, and actually I realised Yarnitas is quite near from me, since I think she's about 4 hours away from Montpellier probably, because she's in northern, I think she's near Barcelona, so in the northern part of Spain. So I love this, and actually her label says naturally dyed yarns made by the Mediterranean Sea. I'm not sure if you can see this. So yeah, I love that. I love that so much, because we live, by the Mediterranean as well, and so it's such beautiful yarn. Very, very subtle dyeing here, with some speckles. And only the mini has some nylon in it, but the main skein doesn't. It's just organic merino. So you have a bit of blue speckles in there as well. This is fabric fluff. Yeah, so how beautiful is this? So yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. And Anna was very kind and gave me her project bag pouch. So I'm very, very chuffed about that, actually. The other thing I got was actually on the booth next to Anna, and actually shared, I think they shared the same booth, was buttons from Atelier Camelier, who is a maker near to Anna. So Anna lives in Grenoble and has her shop in Grenoble. She also has an online shop. So this maker Atelier Camellia actually lives very near from her in the mountains, and she makes the most beautiful ceramic buttons, such as this, which is so very beautiful. So I'm hoping to use this on a cardigan, maybe my Black Isle Yarns cardigan. How lovely would that be? So yes, I think she was very, very successful as well. It's what she does is so unique. So yeah, I'm very excited to have this. Last but certainly not least, I wanted to share the fabrics that I got at the festival, which are by Lise Taylor, of course, my dear friend Lise, who just designed her spring collection, where she had just launched it just before the festival. And so Lise designs fabric and has them printed very near to her, so she lives in Lyon. And so here are the two that I got. So first of all, this one is my absolute favourite from her whole collection, because they're peonies, and I absolutely love peonies, and they are one of my favourite flowers to paint as well. So that's really special. So I got 1.5 meters of this. I'm still a little undecided about what I'm going to do. I want to make trousers out of it, but I'm not sure. I really want to make sure I wear this because it's such a special fabric. So I want to make sure if I make trousers, I wear them, because I'm not the best at wearing trousers. We will probably have noticed this. I very rarely wear trousers because they don't always feel comfortable, and especially I think they're so hard to fit. Probably also because I have quite an important difference between my waist and my hips. So maybe also because I'm very short, I don't know, but still. So I want to make sure, I'm definitely going to try and make some trousers in another fabric, and if I do like the fit and the overall feel, then maybe I will cut this out in this. So the trouser patterns that I have in mind is the Carry trousers by Sew Over It. They are like elegant casual, I would say, especially for summer, since they are meant to be sewn in drapey fabrics, and they have an elasticized waistband, but not all round, so it's quite elegant. It's not like, you know, just pull on trousers really, it's more elegant than this. And so the second cut I got is this beautiful pink floral, which is so beautiful. It's called In the Pink Meadow. And she also has this in blue and green, blue greens. And the reason why I got this and not the blue, obviously I was first and foremost drawn to the blue, but the reason why I got this is that I have a fabric from organic cotton crepe from Les Trouvailles d'Amandine, which has this exact shade of purple in it. And so I want to make trousers precisely out of this cotton crepe, and to make a tank top, like a summer top with this to wear over it. So that's quite exciting. And for this, I'm thinking of making the Narcisse tank top by Anna Rose Patterns, because I bought the pattern last year. I never got around to making it, so I'm thinking it needs to happen with this. So yes, we'll see. But I'm very, very excited about these beautiful fabrics, and it just got me really excited about sewing again. So I really can't wait to sew these. I just need some time. I just need some time to and energy to make these projects happen. But yeah, let me know what you think about this, because I was a bit hesitant because, you know, it's a fairly large print, but not overly big either. So I'm thinking it might work as trousers. It might not be too huge on my small frame. It might be quite striking and fun actually. So yeah, otherwise I may just make a skirt out of this. I think it's a great fabric for a skirt as well. So we'll see. But yes, there you go for my Knit Eat and EYF purchases, so I'm quite excited, very excited to have started to swatch for this. And if you want to know, you know, my festival shawl that I was mentioning in my previous episode, just sharing one tidbit of a work in progress, since it is related to these festivals. Since I'm knitting this out of some yarn that I got last year at EYF, and I started knitting this on my way to EYF 2019, and I knit it again also on during the Knit Eat festival. So yes, so as you can see, I have made some good progress since last time, even though I don't have much time to knit at the moment. So it is this beautiful gradient. I'm knitting the cameo shawl, but minus the stripes. And so as you can see, I have finally reached the pink. Yay! So I'm really very near to being done with this. I really don't have much yarn left, and I need a good chunk of yarn to knit the picot bind off. So I'm thinking actually I'm almost done knitting the main, you know, knitting the shawl, and then I need to do this picot bind off, which is why I allowed myself to swatch for my next project yesterday. So yes, yeah, but yeah, just to go back to the Knit Eat festival, I had such a lovely time, and I have to say it is definitely what inspired me to record a new episode last time, because I met so many lovely French people who actually watched the podcast, even though it's in English. And you know, I know it may appear a bit strange that I'm French and I podcast in English. My Instagram feed is mostly in English, even though I try and do my best at translating. You know, whenever I have time, I do a bilingual post. And actually, yeah, I was very surprised, very happily surprised to see that quite a number of French makers are watching this English podcast. So it really just really made my day, and so I made such lovely encounters at this festival, you know, so there was such a lovely spirit, like I don't know, everyone was so relaxed and happy, and you could strike up a conversation with anyone, and it was just so lovely. So yeah, so but I did want to say thank you to everyone who came and chatted with me, and I had the loveliest time really. And then on the train back, I actually was in the same train as two of my friends from Montpellier, and the train was half empty, so it was really easy for us to find you know, some seats around a table and just have our little knit night on the train, which was lovely. We came home at 8 p.m. So from the very end, this day was just amazing and just brought me so much joy. So yeah, I'm definitely going back to this festival next time they have one. So yes. So on that little bit of joy, I hope you will have enjoyed this little non-regular episode. And I hope you have a lovely weekend ahead. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will chat with you as soon as I can about my making, my knitting and my sewing. And until then, I do hope your making brings you joy. Bye bye. Thank you so much for watching.